Assalamualaikum and a very good morning everyone. My name is Siti Nur Sahara binti Sabaruddin. We are group number 6. We are from group number 6. Today we are going to present about reliability and validity. And the question is reliability and validity is two important aspects in test quality, and we must to explain three differences between reliability and validity, and we must to provide an example for each explanation. And the question B is we must to discuss the factors that influence content validity of a test. Thank you. First of all, before we go through the question about three differences between reliability and validity, we have to know what's mean validity and what means reliability. Okay, reliability is mean that refers to how dependably or consistently a test measure a characteristic. Okay, it means that reliability is the characteristic of the set of measurement that relates to the accuracy of the score. Okay, reliability is measure of the stability or consistency of the test. You can also think of it the ability for a test or research findings to be repeatable. Okay, I give you for example for this reliability. We know that a medical thermometer is a reliable tool that when we use it, it can give a correct temperature. So it's same way with the mathematics. When we use a mathematical formula, we know that a mathematical formula is a reliable, and we know if you use a mathematical formula, we can get a correct answer for the mathematical question. So it's a reliability. Of course, it's not quite simple as saying you think a test is reliable. Okay, so meaning it is a meaning for reliability. Okay, next we go through the validity. Validity is refer to what characteristic the test measure and how well the test measure that characteristic. It means that it simply means that a test or instrument is accurately measuring what is supposed to. So it's a validity because the test is not valid without reliability, and the test is not reliable without validity. So I mean that reliability and validity is related with each other. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all for me. Next, I give you to the next presenter is my friend Intan Zulaika. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Intan Zulaika binti Zulkifli, metric number 147830. Okay, I want to talk about why reliability and validity is important thing in tests. When creating a question to quantify a goal, or when deciding on a data instrument to secure the result to that question, two concepts are universally agreed upon by the researchers to be of peak importance. Next, these two concepts are called validity and reliability, and they refer to the quality and accuracy of data instruments. After that, it is important to understand the differences between reliability and validity. Validity will tell you how good a test is for a particular situation, while reliability will tell you how trustworthy a score on that test will be. You cannot draw valid conclusions from a test score unless you are sure that the test is reliable. Next, I want to show to all of you about the bow and arrow graphics that show how reliability and validity are. How do they work together? So get your bow and arrow ready. Okay, about this arrow, we call it reliable and reliable but not valid. Arrows on target and group indicating consistency, yet not in the bull's eyes assumed to be the goal of the archer. Okay, these This arrow called reliable because it is consistent. As you can see, it's all the arrows shoot in the same place. All the arrows shoot in the same place, so it is reliable, it is consistent. But not valid because it's far away from the middle, because we target on a middle. So that is why it is this arrow, this graphic show that it is reliable but not valid. Next, this rows graph really show and clearly show that is neither reliable or valid, because arrows not on target and not group, indicating inconsistency. As you can see, the rows is spread everywhere, shoots everywhere. The rows even not shoot on the bow. To get consistent and valid, we have to shoot in the middle of on the bow. So it is called not reliable or invalid because the rows is spread everywhere, not even on the bow. The last graph of rows is show that both reliable and valid, because arrows on target and group in the bull's eyes, that mean in the middle, on the bow, and demonstrating both accuracy, that is validity, and consistency as reliability. As you can see, these all the rows is shooted in the middle and on the bull's eyes on the middle, so it is reliable and valid. So the conclusion is from all the graph, we have to we can conclude that, and I repeat again, to get reliable and valid, we have to shoot on the middle on the bow, and the rows must be grouped, not spread everywhere.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Atikah Nazirah binti Mustafa. My metric number is 146683, and I would like to present about differences of reliability and validity. Today I will explain about the differences in three terms, which is the difference in terms of the definitions, in terms of measurement, and in terms of type. Okay, now I will continue with the differences between reliability and validity in terms of the definition. The definition of reliability is consistency of measurement. For example, weight. Your weight should be consistent whether you measure it in the morning, afternoon, or at night. If your weight in the morning is 40 kilogram but drops to 35 kilogram in the afternoon and shoot up to 45 kilogram at night, then it must be something wrong with the scale that you are using. Similarly, students' ability needs to be consistent. Doesn't matter which test you use to measure it. So the definition of validity is the extent to which a test measure what it claims to measure. For example, consider 20 items spelling test. The test show evidence of high content validity if the 20 items are representative sample of the domain. Here is the second difference between reliability and validity, which is the difference in terms of measurement. So reliability is a measure whether the test gives consistent result at its outcome. So reliability refers to how consistently a method measures something. If the same result can be consistently achieved by using the same method under the same circumstance, the measurement is considered reliable. So the example is you measure the temperature of a liquid sample several times under identical condition. The thermometer displays the same temperature every time, so the results are reliable. For the validity, validity is measure whether the extent to which the test claim to measure is achieved. Validity refers to how accurately a method measure what is intended to measure. If research has high validity, that means it produces results that correspond to real properties, characteristic, and variation in the cycle or social world. For example, if the thermometer shows different temperature each time, even though you have carefully controlled condition to ensure the sample temperature stays the same. The third difference is the differences in terms of types. There are two types of reliability, which is internal reliability and external reliability. Internal reliability is the extent to which a measure is consistent within itself, and external reliability is the extent to which a measure varies from one to use to another. And the validity also have two types, which is internal validity and external. So internal validity is the instrument or procedure used in the research study measure what they were supposed to measure. So external validity means if the result can be generalized immediate study.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Anisha Mimi binti Muhammad Raizi. I would like to explain about content validity of test. What is content validity of test? Content validity of test is to produce a valid result. The content of a test, survey or measurement method must cover all relevant parts of the subject it aims to measure. If some aspects are missing from the measurement, the validity is threatened. The content validity of tests have four aspects. First, to measure knowledge of the content domain it was designed to measure knowledge. Second, primarily an issue for education tests, certain industrial tests, and other tests of content knowledge. Third, content validity assess whether a test is representative of all aspects of the construct. The last one is another way that content validity concern primarily the adequacy with the test item adequate and representative sample the content area to be measured. For example, a mathematics teachers develop an algebra test for her class. The test should cover every question of algebra. If some types of algebra are left out, then the result may not be an accurate. Similarly, if she includes questions that are not related to algebra, the results are no longer a valid measure of algebra knowledge. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Riza Natasha Minti Radwan. I will discuss about the factors that influence content validity. There are 5 factors that influence content validity. Firstly, the factors that influence content validity is factors in the test itself, which is contained in appropriate level of difficulty of the test items. When the test items have an inappropriate level of difficulty, it will affect the validity of the tool. Next, the improper arrangement of items. Items in the test are generally arranged in order of difficulty, with the easiest item first. If the if the difficult items are placed early in the test, it may make the students spend too much of their time on this and fail to reach other items which they could answer easily. Sentence structure are too difficult also make students cannot understand the question properly. Next, functioning content. Next, functioning content and teaching procedure. In achievement testing, the functioning content of test items cannot be determined only by examining the form and content of the test. The teacher has to teach fully how to solve a particular problem before including it in the test. After that, factors in test administration and scorings. The test administration and scoring procedure may also affect the validity of the interpretation from the results. For example, in teacher-made test, factors like insufficient time to complete the test and the unreliable scoring of essay answers might lead to lower the validity. Next, factors in pupils' response. There are certain personal factors which influence the pupil's response to the test situation and invalidate the test interpretation. The emotionally disturbed students, lack of students' motivation, and students being afraid of test situation may not respond normally, and this may ultimately affect the validity. The last one is nature of the group and the criterion. Actually, it has already been explained to you that validity is always specific to a particular group. For example, an arithmetic test based on story problems may help us in measuring reasoning ability in a slow group and a combination of a simple recall of information skills in a more advanced group. The nature of criterion used is another important consideration while evaluating validity coefficient. For example, scores on a specific aptitude test are likely to provide a more accurate prediction of achievement in an environmental study course.
So, in conclusion, that we can conclude that about reliability and validity is reliability and validity is related with each other because the test is not reliable until it is valid. So, I think the good test have two items. They have these two items, which is reliability and validity. So, means that validity and reliability are meaningful measurements that should be taken into account when attempting to evaluate the status of our progress toward any objective or district, school, or so on. So for me, the teachers have to understand what is a reliability and what is validity because it is important to the student because if a teacher know about a reliability and validity, so it feel like the teacher makes a good decision for the student to improve their student's life because validity and reliability is two important aspect. Okay, lastly, we can say that it is important to understand the differences between reliability and validity because validity will tell you how good a test is for a particular situation and reliability will tell you how trustworthy a score on that test will be. And you cannot draw valid conclusion from a test score unless you are sure that the test is reliable and valid, because reliability and validity is important in the test quality. So that's all for us. I hope you are understand what we are presented just now. So if you have any question, you can ask us from WhatsApp, and we are trying our best to answer all your question. Thank you.